All right. Welcome, Con.
Thanks, Jim. We're back again.
We're back again.
And guess what we're talking about today?
What are we talking about today?
More
It's
about...
not Mecca, is it?
It is.
Again?
Mecca again. Oh, boy. Yes, Mecca again. So, for the benefit of our listeners and any new listeners, why are we talking about Mecca again? I mean, you might be thinking, Con, can we stop talking about Mecca? It's like, are we flogging a dead horse?
There's more. There's more about Mecca.
There's more about Mecca.
Okay.
Yes. So why is Mecca so important, such an important topic to address?
I mean, Mecca is where Muhammad was born, and the claim is that it's the mother of all cities, and central trade, and all of that.
And
where the Quran was written.
That's exactly right.
Okay, so
if Islam, its claims are that they got to believe in Allah and follow the example of the Prophet.
Yeah,
and the Prophet came from Mecca.
Yeah.
If there was no Mecca, there was no Prophet from Mecca, was there?
No.
That's a big problem.
Unlikely, yeah.
Yeah. So how can the Muslim be a Muslim?
Sure.
So I think this is Islam's biggest Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there are a lot of problems with as we'll get into in other videos, and I'm saying that so people can, this is, if you watch all the stuff we put out, because we're going to be talking about some very interesting stuff about Muhammad or Muhammad or, the so-called prophet, as well as the Quran. But Mecca is a big problem.
Sure. Yeah. So the parallel there is Jesus from Nazareth.
Yes. That's right.
And you can do similar.
Yeah, or even better, Jesus from where was the temple?
From Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. Yeah. Okay, he was born in Nazareth.
Yes.
But he did a lot of his preaching where?
Yeah.
In where? In
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. Yeah. Or even he did the Sermon on the Mount, which is probably near the Sea of Galilee or whatever.
Capernaum and all those.
Capernaum. Yeah. He was baptized in the River Jordan.
Jordan. Yeah.
So the fact that Jesus existed.
Yeah.
Even better. Like I'll go even more fundamental.
Yeah.
Right. What's the foundation of the Christian faith? What's the one thing that we have to believe in?
The death and resurrection.
Yes, but what do you have to do? The death. Okay.
Yeah.
How did he die? And where?
By crucifixion.
By crucifixion.
Yeah.
Where was he crucified?
On Calvary.
Where's Calvary?
In Jerusalem.
Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Just outside Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Golgotha, right?
Golgotha, yeah.
If there's no Jerusalem, there's no Golgotha.
Yeah.
You see? Chuck out the New Testament.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the parallel.
Yeah.
That's why we're spending a lot of time.
I take for granted, like as a Christian, how historically good the narrative is. The Gospels, and it just you can actually put a lot of faith in somehow that it's all true.
Yes, the historical claims. Now, it's important that we understand we are not preaching here.
Yeah,
this isn't. We're not
historically.
Yeah,
because we talk about evidence. It's not. We're not putting our faith into a blind faith into something.
That's right.
We're not trusting someone. Okay, whatever you said is.
Yeah. No, it's a bit like, and we all have faith in something. It's like I challenge somebody when someone's, I only go by absolute proof or evidence.
Sure.
All right.
Science.
Or even a more fundamental thing, right, Jim? Okay, have you ever flown overseas?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you check the credentials of the pilot before you flew?
No.
No, he didn't. You just had faith that the pilot knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Why did you have faith?
Yeah. It's...
the airline. You had enough evidence.
Yeah, it's the money I'm paying for, and there's the authority. Yeah, and everybody's following the rules.
That's right.
Everybody's been trained.
That's right.
All of that.
Because if you're flying with somebody like Qantas or Emirates or someone like that, you know that you can trust them.
That's right. Yeah.
But if Con set up his
Con Air.
It's a good movie. Good movie. I love it. Con Air. Let's go with Con Air. Would you fly Con Air?
Not with the cons.
Not necessarily. Yeah, but then you get the point.
Yeah.
Right. So the fact is that we can trust in the historical reliability
Yeah.
of the New Testament
Yeah.
and the Old Testament,
For that matter.
for that matter, right? The theological claims, well, that's a different question, right? You know, we're not saying, even though I believe that Jesus is the Son of God, we're not talking about that in this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, so, and we can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yes.
You know, we can talk historically and believe theologically, but here we're examining historical claims. So, more about Mecca.
Yep.
And
What specifically about Mecca we're talking about?
Well, you mentioned something that the claims about Mecca. What does the sin claim about Mecca? You mentioned that it's the mother of all cities. What's another thing it claims?
Trade.
Trade.
Place of trade.
A major trade center in the 7th century. So then we should have evidence of that trade, shouldn't we? Right?
Yeah.
So when you look at what the sin claims about it, it claims that there, and this was not just the sin, but other people, I believe Montgomery Watt was one of them, that talk about that, you know, okay, there was a trade route. It's called the trade route theory, right? And he says, oh, there was a spice trade because in the north, around, Palestine and Jordan and all that, you had all these churches. And those churches used incense for their services, like Orthodox churches still do today. That incense, a lot of it came from Yemen.
Wow.
Because that's where the trees that, you know, because it's made from sap of certain type of trees and, you know, and spices, and they use all and those spices were grown down south. Also, some of them were grown in India. And there was a trade, you know, from, India to the Mediterranean and those places. So how was it going to get from Yemen to, say, Gaza and to Antioch, right? Well, the trade route theory says that the incense went from Aden to Sana'a, is on the map there. We'll put this map in the video. Aden, Sana'a, Najran, Taif, then down to Mecca, then to Yathrib or Medina, then to Tabuk, then to Petra and Gaza, etc. So there's a second map I've got there, which is a topographical map.
Yeah.
Now, do you know what a topographical map is?
It's got the terrain view.
The terrain view, that's right. Okay, so, and you can see that, can you see that basically the topographical map shows that there is a plateau going along the western coast of Arabia. It's called the Western Plateau.
Yeah.
Interestingly, it's one of the reasons why, when the Quran talks about, if the Quran talked about earthquakes, there really are no earthquakes down there.
Okay.
Because the whole plateau, it's like its own plate. Earthquakes happen when plates come against each other, right? There are plates up in plate boundaries up in Jordan and Syria. That's why there are earthquakes up there, but that's a side issue.
Sure.
But the plate here, okay, so the plateau here, if you can see on the topographical map, Najran, Taif, Yathrib, Tabuk, Petra, they're all on the Western Plateau, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they're all basically at the same level. Now, I'm not saying that the terrain's flat. No, it's not flat.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about 1,000 meters one way or 1,000 meters the other, right? But where is Mecca? Is Mecca on that plateau, or is Mecca down closer to sea level?
Just closer to sea level.
It is closer to sea level. Mecca's 80 kilometers from the coast, right? And that plateau from Taif to Mecca down is 1,000 kilometers down.
1,000 kilometers.
Sorry, no, my fault. 1,000 feet. No, my fault. Sorry, it's 1,000 meters down.
Meters, yeah.
1,000 meters, 3,000 feet.
Yeah.
All right. So it's 1,000 meters down.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the question then, Jim. Looking at that map, you and I, we'll stick to that map first. But you and I are camel herders, right? Let's say we're in business together. Yeah. You know, Jim-con, right? And we're taking spice, and we're going along the Western Plateau, all right, with camels.
Yeah.
That need their water and need all that stuff, and we've got to carry our own food, would we go 1,000 meters down from Taif down to Mecca, and then 1,000 meters back up to keep going along the plateau? Or would we just keep going along the plateau? What would you do?
Keep going along the plateau unless there's something of Yeah.
But why would you?
It needs to be, yeah.
Yeah. If it's a trade, I mean, and at each of these places, there's oases and where you stop for water, right?
Yeah.
Why would you go down to Mecca and then go back right up to Yathrib?
Yeah.
Your camels might hurt themselves.
Yeah. They're not designed to go down
This is,
steep or
yeah,
whatever.
you know, you're going to use up a lot of supplies going down there and a lot of supplies going back up.
Sure.
Why don't you just keep going along, you know,
Yep.
the plateau? So that doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
No. So that's one problem. Now, interestingly, one of our friends, you know him, I won't mention his name, but he lived in the Gulf. And he was telling me, you actually do. You drive down from Taif, you drive down to Mecca.
Okay.
I mean, he can't go to Mecca because he's a Christian, but he says you can actually see the sign. You're driving along from Taif, if you're driving along that plateau, and you see the sign pointing to Mecca, and it's actually down.
Yeah.
So so we're not making anything up. Now, there's another problem with this hypothesis, right? That and here we will go to the next page. The other problem with this hypothesis is if you're like taking stuff from, say, India and down here in Aden, and you're going to go up to Jordan, what would you? Does it make more sense to go by land or just go straight up the Red Sea?
Well, you got the sea there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and it's like by the 4th century, it was cheaper to send stuff up the Red Sea.
Yep.
All right. And Patricia Kroner, in her book Meccan Trade on the Rise of Islam, actually points that out. And she says that all the data tells us that by the 4th century, it was a maritime trade up the Red Sea, not a land-based trade.
Okay.
And on page 24 of her book, she says, in short, by the 1st century AD, the Yemeni incense trade had come to be wholly maritime. It is hard to believe that the overland trade route survived this competition for long. You see? So not only does it not make sense, if there was a land-based trade route, it wouldn't have stopped at Mecca.
Yeah.
Right? So that's problem number one. But by the 1st or 2nd century AD, there was no more land-based trade route. So can't stop at Mecca, can it? No. There's another problem with the land-based trade, even with a maritime-based trade route, right? The ships that are sailing up the Red Sea, okay, I'll give you a clue. It's not one day sailing journey, okay? It's many days to sail, right? So what do the ships need they need regular stops, don't they? What for?
Yeah, food, water.
Yeah. Fresh water, stuff. So generally speaking, they'd look for ports that were about 1 day sail between them.
Yeah.
So as you can see on the map, we have some ports.
On the
Are they on the Arabian?
Side, yeah.
Are they on the Arabian side of the Red Sea?
No, it's on the other side.
On the African side.
African, yeah.
That's right. And they're all about Asab. You know, there's Asab, Adulis, Suakin, Berenice. You know, Berenice we mentioned in the sources where I talked about Peripolis. Okay, that's just an aside. We actually talked about Berenice, and Berenice is across the sea from Yanbu, as we see, and Safaga. Now I've got here. We've got evidence that they were inhabited. The evidence they were inhabited. So Safaga was inhabited by the 3rd century BC. Berenice was inhabited 3rd century BC. Suakin inhabited 2nd century AD. Okay, Adulis inhabited 1st century AD, and Asab 3rd century BC. All right. So, are all of those inhabitation dates are they all well before the 7th century AD?
Well before.
Well before. Okay. So, any trade that was in the 7th century would have gone up this side. Okay. Now, people say, oh, but there's Jeddah. Jeddah is the port of Mecca. Yeah, but not in the 7th century.
Right.
AD. Jeddah's the port of Mecca today. Okay. But there's no evidence for the existence of Jeddah until the 8th century. Now, if anyone does have evidence, please send it to us. Okay, I'm happy to look at it. But all the evidence that I've looked at suggests that Jeddah was not a port until the 8th century. Now, remember we talked about how Mecca, the first mention of Mecca is the 8th century. The aqueduct was 801, the 9th century. The coins are from the 9th century. Remember? So Mecca did become inhabited, but not in the 7th century.
Yeah.
You see? That's the point.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to quote here from Patricia Kroner, where she says, okay, where did this trade hypothesis come from? All right. She found that the idea of a Meccan frankincense trade really had no evidence to back it up. It was first proposed by a guy named Lamont, right? And and it was later adopted by later writers such as Montgomery Watt and Rodinson. All right. This is what she says. Quote, the belief that the Meccans traded in frankincense rests on a methodology akin to the invocation of ghosts. In other words, okay, the door closed, a ghost did it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Right? The invocation of ghosts. Lamont invented it by crediting the Meccans with a trade described by Pliny, Periplus, and other classical sources, and other Islamists have followed suit. So she said, yes, there was a trade, but this guy, Lamont, just said, it must have been the Meccans.
Okay.
But no evidence to back that up. Again, people want to dispute that, put it in writing, okay, and we'll look at it, but I'm going with the scholars, right? And then she also, in her book on page 78, says that the other spices, products of East Africa, including frankincense, myrrh, cardamom, tarum, cinnamon, cassia, calamus, and ginger, the Meccans played no role in the marketing of these goods insofar as the Greco-Roman world continued to import them. So, yes, the Greco-Roman world continued to import those products, probably some of them from India as well as from South Arabia, but the Meccans had no role in it. That's what she's saying. Okay? So, sorry guys, there is no spice trade. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely interesting. Yeah.
So the point there is the Meccan spice trade theory doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's not supported by evidence.
Yeah.
So the other thing, people might say, oh yeah, but all right, well, the Meccans traded in other things. Right? So then we've got to say, okay, well, what other things?
What other things? Yeah.
You know, and the good thing is Patricia Kroner went through that stuff, right? And she looked at things like gold, silver, and copper. Well, the nearest mine was 250 kilometers northeast.
Okay.
So, do you think the Meccans had a rip-roaring gold trade?
No.
No. Okay. Perfume. Okay, because perfume was a trade. Because the Byzantines already had a perfume center in Alexandria.
Yeah.
And the Sasanian Persians, because they're the two superpowers at the time, already had theirs in Hira. So do you think that if you were a Byzantine, would you buy perfume from Mecca or would you buy it from Alexandria?
Alexandria.
It's probably going to be cheaper, better quality, right? And importantly, you're going to get it sooner, aren't you? Because have a look at the map. Alexandria is up around Egypt. It's up, it's up here.
Yeah.
Mecca's down here. And you're in the, if you look at, for example, you want to get your stuff, you're in this area, easier to get it from Alexandria than to get it from Mecca, right? Now, the Persians, they're living over here.
Yeah.
They've got their perfume industry over there too.
Yeah.
So would they go hundreds of kilometers across a punishing desert to Mecca to get it? No. See, we're just showing that common sense and evidence just does not support the sin. And see what the sin and I'm not going to digress, but we can summarize. The sin, the standard Islamic narrative, is something that has been created to provide a history for something like the Quran, and the Arab Empire, to provide a history that wasn't there. 200 years later, they have this Quran, they have this stuff.
Yeah.
They've created this narrative to explain these problems.
Okay.
Right? And they've redacted it back. They've projected it back onto the 7th century.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's why none of this works. All right? Yeah. Because if it did work, then we wouldn't have Patricia Kroner finding these holes. Right? Yep. So and they go, oh, textiles. Okay, textiles. The Arabs are very good at weaving carpets, aren't they?
Okay. Yes. Iranian carpets and whatnot.
Iranian carpets. Are they Arabs? Are Iranians Arabs?
Well, not from Arabia.
No.
Yeah.
They're not Arabs. They're Persians.
Yes.
You see? All right. Turkish carpets from Istanbul. Are they Arabs?
No.
No. All right. But here's another problem. What do you need to make textiles? What you got a nice suit. What's it often made of?
Wool. Yeah.
Where do you get wool? From what?
Sheep.
Sheep.
Yeah.
Remember in one of our previous videos?
Yeah.
We talked about what do you need for sheep? You need lots of pasture land.
Yeah.
Right? Where would the Meccans, with their desert and their 11 centimeters of rain on average all year, be able to raise sheep?
Yeah.
So again,
sure.
It just can you see how it just doesn't fit? And so and if you're going to have leather, what do you need? You need cows, right?
Yeah.
Again, cows drink a lot of water. They eat a lot of grass.
Sure.
Okay. So Corona basically concludes that the idea that Mecca was a major commercial center is just not supported by the evidence. Right? Now, but she also comes to a conclusion that is similar to other things we've pointed out. Okay. What direction? Remember we were talking about the Quran and where it was, where it was put together.
Yeah.
What direction was it in relation to Mecca?
Northwest. Yeah.
Northwest. Okay. Were there sheep northwest of Mecca?
Yeah.
Okay. Were there cows up there? Were there rivers?
Yeah.
There's the gold. The mine was 250 kilometers north, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfume was up there. So again, any trade, all the elements for Islam is northwest.
Yeah.
What she says this, okay, quote, from the point of view, and it's a long quote, and I'll unpack it as we go, but I think the audience will appreciate this. From the point of view of the rise of Islam, the problem may be restated as follows. We seem to have all the ingredients for Muhammad's career in northwest Arabia. Qurayshi trade sounds perfectly viable, indeed more intelligible, without its South Arabian and Ethiopian extensions, and there is a case for a Qurayshi trading venture, at least diaspora, in the north. So she's saying if there was that kind of trade, you can make that case for the north. Okay? One might be located in Ptolemy's Mocha, somewhere in the north too. Then she says, Jewish communities are well attested in northwest Arabia. Even Abrahamic monotheism is documented there. Right?
Yeah.
So there's Jews northwest Arabia, there's monotheism northwest Arabia. Abraham was from northwest Arabia, northwest, southern Jordan, right?
Yeah.
The Moabites are up there. Remember the Quran talks about those foreign people, the people of Midian, the people of Ad?
Yeah.
Northwest. She says, yet everything is supposed to have happened much further south, in a place described as a sanctuary town inhabited since time immemorial, located, according to some, in an unusually fertile environment. Now, she's being tongue-in-cheek there.
Yeah.
All right? That's why, according to some. Now, from all the evidence we've seen so far, okay, do you think that the Mecca of Saudi Arabia in the 7th century would have been, there would have been a major trading center down there?
No.
No. Okay. Here's another scholar. Okay, you might say, oh, you're quoting Patricia Corona. All right, well then let's look at some other scholars. All right. Scholars such as Fred Donner in Mecca's Food Supply and Muhammad's Boycott in 1977, and Frank Peters, the Commerce of Mecca Before Islam in 1988, each reach similar conclusions. Okay. What Peters says is often we are reduced to remarking what is not true of the mercantile life of Mecca before the birth of the Prophet. He says the city's connections with what we know to be broader commercial networks of the 5th and 6th centuries are far more problematic. So in other words, connecting Mecca of Saudi Arabia to the trade in the 5th and 6th centuries is quite problematic. He then goes on to say that the later Arab sources strongly urge such a connection. But everything we know about international trade in the Near East on the eve of Islam raises serious questions about the claim. What information we do possess suggests the very opposite. There was very little money in Mecca. Mecca's pre-Islamic commercial prosperity is in fact an illusion at worst and a considerable exaggeration at best, unquote.
Okay.
So do you see what he's saying?
Yeah.
It's an illusion. It's made up.
Yeah.
You see? And so it's a claim that has been made up by people later on and projected back to Mecca. So here's the question. Do you think that Mecca was a major trading center in the 7th century?
7th? No.
No. 100%. Now,
unlikely.
Unlikely, because it's the Meccans, remember, according to the sin, that came against Muhammad in Medina.
Okay.
So the Meccans raised an army of 10,000 people, right? So there must have been 100,000 people living there. You see, if like 10,000 soldiers, those soldiers had wives probably, they had kids.
Yeah.
It's like in the feeding of the 5,000 in the Jewish in the gospel story. You know that most scholars believe there were more than 5,000 people there.
That was just the men.
Just the men, right? So we got 10,000 soldiers here. What about their wives? What about their kids? You know, and that they were if they were from Mecca, right? Then that city would have been massive.
Yeah.
And yet it left no footprint archaeologically in any of the sources, and you know, there's no trade there. You know, what do the soldiers do for money?
Yeah.
You know, and so this means, if all that's true, that this holy city would have had to be quite large to raise significant amounts of money and manpower and the resources to feed hundreds of horses and thousands of camels. And as we've seen, the evidence doesn't support this. All right, Patricia Corona says this. She says, again in page 196, the site was barren, devoid of a fertile hinterland except for Taif, ill-equipped for maritime trade, and much too far away for a caravan trade with Syria or of the kind that the sources describe. See, and you know, there was no fertile, as it says here, fertile hinterland except for Taif. Taif is on the plateau. We saw it before. You have to go down to it, right? So there is no evidence that these sorts of armies or this sort of, I guess, why am I making a big deal about the armies? Because the armies would have come from a population.
Yes. Yeah.
You see? If the sin is true, then the Meccan population would have had to be massive. Probably in the order of 50,000 people. Yeah. Something like that. A bit like Nineveh of the ancient, of the Bible, right? Yeah. And, you know, so another quote from Patricia Corona, she says, how, for example, did a city bereft of pasture land provide fodder for 1,000 or even 2,500 camels, of which their caravans are sometimes said to have been composed? All right. And another simple problem with the sin is, if Mecca was so important to the Arabs as a center for profitable trade, why didn't the other Arabs around the area come and help the Meccans? Okay. You know, because Muhammad goes to capture it, you know, I think in 630 or something. All right. Why didn't they come and help him? If they did, then Muhammad's movement would have been nipped in the bud. But, you know, there's nothing like that ever described. So, and, you know, another source, Al-Waqidi, he basically talks about, because there are two histories. There's Al-Waqidi talks about Muhammad's campaigns, right? And he says that the Prophet tried to intercept caravans which would have been made up of dozens or even hundreds of camels. So again, all the sources are talking about hundreds of camels, thousands of men, thousands of horses. And the question, I know I might be labouring a point, but that would have required, you know, let's summarise. Would that have required just a small shanty town somewhere? No. Would have required a major metropolis. Yeah. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, big city.
Big city. So can you see the Meccan population problem? Yeah. So what we've shown here is we've shown that Mecca has a number of problems, that it's foreign. Okay, well, let's go back. Where do we find major populations, cities, major cities with populations. Do
Yeah.
we find them? Do we find them? Which direction from Mecca?
North.
North.
Yeah.
Again, north. We also find them south,
Mm.
but we find them north too.
North. Yeah.
Right? Places
South
like-
Sea or Yemen and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You see? So again, let's recap. Mecca's a big problem. Mecca has a major foreign problem. We talked about in the previous podcast.
Yeah.
It's got a major, this trade problem. The idea that Mecca was a trading center, that's got major problems. And coupled with that trade problem is this issue of, for that to have been a massive center, it would have had to be a major population.
Yeah.
Which the evidence doesn't support. Now, the next podcast, because you're going to ask me what's the next podcast,
What are we doing next?
right? We're going to say why could Mecca have not been
Okay.
a major trade center. Now, what's the one word that we're going to talk about mostly about? What do you think? What doesn't Mecca have that would allow it to do all of that stuff?
Water.
Exactly. So I call it the Meccan hydrological problem, the Meccan water problem.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Any thoughts?
That was good. No, a lot of information.
Yeah.
There's different layers.
Yes.
It's a lot of research that's gone into this.
And again, this is jab after jab after jab after jab, layer after layer after layer. Let's go back and contrast it. Let's again summarize it and look at the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The Bible talks about settlements like Jerusalem. Okay, having lots of people there. Do we have evidence that there was a lot of people in Jerusalem?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
As far back as even before the rise of Christianity.
Yeah.
Right. We have evidence before the Romans conquered it. We have evidence that Alexandria was a big city. Right. Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
What about Antioch?
Yeah.
And they're all very well watered. Damascus.
Yeah.
Again, very well watered. That whole area is very well watered.
Yeah.
In east of Arabia, you've got Hira in Mesopotamia, but also you've got a place called Ctesiphon, which was the ancient Persian capital, and Susa, ancient Persian capitals. Ctesiphon is in what is currently Iraq.
Yeah.
Is Iraq very well watered? Iraq.
Yeah.
Mesopotamia. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
See, so it talks about those places.
Sure.
We know that there was like the fact that there was Nineveh.
Yeah.
Okay. We can see ruins there, but again, going back to the Bible,
Nineveh is modern day Iraq.
Yeah.
Mosul and
That's right. You see, exactly.
Yeah.
See, so and why are people still living there? Because there's water there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to steal the thunder of the next podcast. But the whole point of this was that we see in Jerusalem and in areas north that make claims about in the scriptures in the Gospels that talk about population centers. We see that it makes sense that there were population centers because those areas have everything you need for a population center.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Good. All right.
Beautiful.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Thank you, Con.